Spare Parts is a Canadian 2020 grindhouse gladiatorial action film directed by Andrew Thomas Hunt and written by David Murdoch and Svet Ruskov. The film follows the members of a girl band Miss 4-5. After a gig gone south, they are drugged and mutilated into weaponized gladiators, all for the purpose of feeding the ground with blood under the eyes of gods. After a short opening, we get hit with some screams. One thing that confused me immediately was that the band is called Miss 4-5, but it sounds like they're saying Miss 3-5. Moving on, a rowdy fan takes to the stage and begins to get touchy. This leads to a brawl and our first fight in the film. It's serviceable, but nothing spectacular. Before things can really get going, the bar owner stops the fight.
Into the fucking crowd, and I don't give a flying fuck who it hits.
Well, the brawl wasn't shoehorned in. This line was.
Never lay your hands on a pregnant woman! Wait, you're pregnant? Yeah.
The pregnant one is Jill, played by Chelsea Murhead. Her very close friend with the haircut that needs to die is Casey, played by Karina Stanton. Finally, you have the two sisters. The lead singer is Amy, played by Michelle Agris, while the axe player is Emma, played by Emily Alatallo. As they hand sell merch, it becomes clear Amy is the one getting attention, but Sam, played by Jason Roos, thinks the spotlight needs to move over to Emma.
It's you who deserves all the attention. The way you work that axe, it's fucking art is what it is.
Well, hey, that isn't the weirdest thing to do.
Emma! Emma!
Okay, moving on, we get some sisterly love when they hit the road.
Some of us have talent beyond sucking dick and taking our clothes off.
Fuck yourself.
Fuck you.
No, fuck you.
No, fuck you.
Guys!
The road isn't the only thing hitting, as a wild Sam appears and starts some twisted metal of his own. But after nearly getting the toe cutter treatment, our punk band is calm, collected, and...
Really? Nothing to fucking say?
And Emma has lost all emotional control. Well, R&R stands for Rage and Ruin as they pop a tire. The strange thing is that the tire pump due to improvised road spikes. I mean, it isn't that big, and really we can only see it hit one tire, so you could just jack it up and slap on a new one in about 10 minutes. Don't you have a donut? Or the friendly sheriff, played by Lewis Hodgson, can show up and offer to tow them to nearest civilization. On the way, he has some advice. Maybe you should get a roadie, or...
What, you mean like a man? Like a pair of balls to keep us helpless little bitches a warm and safe
Oh,
enough.
I am so sorry, Sheriff.
Oh, shut the fuck up. He just suggested getting a roadie. Then maybe you could have just fixed the tire and been on your way. But we wouldn't have a movie, would we? With a little anger still boiling, Emma goes to take a call from her sort of boyfriend Tim, played by Morgan I. Bedard, who got screwed over on IMDb. Despite having a fair bit of screen time and serving as a B-plot, he gets shafted off the top cast section in favor of the likes of Tim Kraft, who plays Random Fan. Damn, who did Morgan piss off? Anyways, after a bit of back and forth, Emma finds a woman entombed in a car. With Tim on the line, she, of course, hangs up.
I'll call you back.
You know, movie, your characters aren't the most likable, and making them stupid isn't helping me to sympathize with them anymore. After they're all knocked out, we get a little look on the bright side, as the movie puts on some rather impressive gore effects. Sadly, this is the most impressive we'll see. I'll be getting around to the effects later, but save this one. I'm serious when I say it's the best. The women awaken collared and missing appendages. Driller, played by Ryan Allen, is there, not to answer questions, but to drag the band to the arena and then arm them More literally than one would normally assume. Well, hey, maybe Julian Richings playing the Emperor can fill us in.
We give our blood to the dirt. We give our blood to the dirt. From the dirt will rise life. From the dirt will rise life. So that we will prosper.
Some of you may recognize Richings from the film Anything for Jackson. In that film, him and his wife summon the Antichrist or something, and here he's making people kill each other to please some gods. Hey, if you're good at something, keep doing it. Speaking of good at something, weren't these ladies good at brawling? Oh, but wait a minute, what about Jill? She can't fight, she's pregnant.
My dear, do you really think that we would allow a woman with child to do battle? What do you think we are, barbarians?
Motherfucker! I'm gonna die, you understand?
That's the spirit.
Richings is honestly just the best part of this film. Now about that brawl. Well, it's serviceable and isn't too bad, though for a film promoting itself as gory and grindhouse, it is rather tame. Also, the effects look off. Take Jill getting stabbed to death. Again, I'll touch on why it looks off later. Speaking of off, I may not be a doctor, but I don't think any of these wounds would kill her as fast as they do. Hell, later in the movie, we'll see people survive worse. They are then tranked, and after a strange nightmare, Emma awakes to find Leah, played by Catherine Cohoot, holding food. Our good pal Sam then shows up. Seems Sam here is the reason she's getting special treatment, because he's taken a shine to her. Before anything more can be said, Driller appears to take them out into the arena once more. Yep, it's training time, and train they do, interspliced with Sam making moves on Emma, starting with giving her her guitar back and serving as a second hand. Between getting glimpses at her room and hearing the guitar, Amy is starting to question why her little sister is getting the better treatment. Anyways, back in the arena with Driller, he's doing his best gladiator impression.
In ancient Rome, each gladiator took an oath. I will endure to be burned, to be bound, to be beaten, to give my blood to the earth, so that the crops may grow.
Well, that's close. The actual oath was, I will endure to be burned, to be bound, to be beaten, and to be killed by the sword.
Do you always talk like Thor with a hammer up his ass?
Actually, with the Roman stuff, he'd be Mars, not Thor. One scene to remind us that Tim is looking for them, but not calling the cops, and we return once more to the montage land. Remember when I called Emma an axe player? Well, Sam allows her to double down on that title. He even spruced it up just for her. Time for the next fight and the return of those bikers from the start of the film, who brought a knife and some barbed chains. I mean, Baldy's Basics over here brought an axe at least. They knew they were going up against the girl band. Why would they not bring, I don't know, actual weapons? Even a basic spear would prove better than a knife here. Honestly, after all the training they supposedly got, they really don't fare any better than earlier. I suppose they do leave the fight without any casualties. Well, looky here and see who stops by. It's Tim, and he meets Sam, and he's saying he's looking for his girlfriend. You know, the guitarist, might be called an axe player. Name of Emma, ring any bells?
No, only the gods know.
Well, Sam is happy to take him inside to ask around like the innocent but helpful man he is.
You're bringing the guitarist, right?
Yeah.
Good on you.
Anyways, Amy begins to seduce Driller, but he puts a stop to that after a sample. In walks Sam, who has a gift, but she needs to fight him for it. Now excuse me while I leave and come back with my face entirely obscured. Well, he doesn't last long, and shocker, it's Tim. I mean, you could be mad at Amy, but Tim somehow wasn't able to recognize Amy. I mean, yeah, it's a welding mask, but you can still see very identifiable punk girls through it. Also, unlike what we saw earlier, he had no chill and went for the kill. That man was wound tight. The saddest part is, he died just before dinner. Here we get a little display of the big bads the trio will have to face. I'd show the bit where our trio looks on in horror at the massacre, but they don't show the massacre, and the flashing strobes bothered me, so yeah. Don't think I'm going to be showing that one. Besides, the real meat of the scene is that the Emperor admits it's all bullshit. This is enough for Casey, and she stabs him with the fork. Separated and thrown back in jail, Amy sneaks out and finds that the communion is people. The shocks keep coming like a broken bark collar. As journeying into the scrapyard, Amy finds Casey, but is ambushed by the big bads. They kill Leah, and they kill Casey, but knock Amy out. Well, we need a trio to fight a trio. Oh, hey, Driller. Do you feel like coming out of retirement? The fight begins, and the Flamer pushes Amy against the wall, toying with her while Emma gets into a CQC shootout. Meanwhile, Driller drills his opponent. Successfully, but he manages to keep going instead. He returns us in kind, and Driller is eliminated. The sisters manage to take down their opponent, and Amy rushes Driller's foe. So you defeated the final bosses. Very good, very good. Now let's double dragon this shit. But Amy refuses and kneels before Emma, who then uses her as a springboard to kill the Emperor. So, happy ending? With Amy down, Emma is all that's left of Miss 4-5, and now she is the ruler of the gridiron, content to sit back and force the last two remaining characters into a brutal melee. Spare Parts was filmed in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Around the world it has the same name, save for in Italy, where it is known as Spare Parts The Gladiators. The first premiere was sometime during 2020 in Taiwan, but its first known, or as far as I can tell, release was 14th of July 2020 at the Bucheon International Fantastic Film Festival in South Korea. The last known release was in the Netherlands, 4th of September 2021 at B-Movie Underground and Trash Film Festival. I couldn't find a budget for the film, but I would wager it had to be around a few $100,000. But was the quality there? Well, I made mention of the gore earlier for a reason. Based off the behind the scenes, it looks like they did the gore effects, then superimposed them over the movie scenes. This is why they look kind of fuzzy and almost like poorly done CGI. What they did is essentially what any YouTuber does by green screening moving objects into their videos. I don't know why they went about it this way, but it hurt the film in my eyes. But what about the remainder of the movie? Surely bad effects can't drag it completely down. Well, Richins was solid. Everyone else acted okay, I guess. But none of the characters were likable. I just found them annoying at best and grating at worst. The division sown between the sisters never really goes anywhere. It's there and the film loves to bring attention to it, but much like that rock on a playground, it ain't doing anything. One thing that annoyed me more than it should have is that throughout the training we see them doing this hit-spin-attack combo. We never once see them use it in the film. Also, with all the references to Rome and the gladiators of that time, this film paled in comparison. Now I don't expect them to flood an arena or anything, but when the bikers showed up, their weapons could have been used more creatively by having them ride their bikes around the arena, kind of like that chariot scene in Gladiator. Speaking of Gladiator films, I don't think it was meant to be a reference, but Emma's jump reminded me of that scene in Spartacus, where Drama tries to attack the bad guy. Yes, this will be on the channel one day. Now, the weapons used are clearly fictional, but arm-based arms have existed. The Indians had the pata, later Europeans had the spike pavi, and Roman gladiators had the scissor, or skizzer. I don't know how to pronounce it. Usually, these would involve some type of offhand weapon, or in the case of the spike pavi, an actual weapon. So that dabble of history out of the way, would I suggest Spare Parts? No, not at all. Even as pure background noise, I didn't care for it. In the realm of grindhouse, there is plenty of meat on the hooks to choose from. Grindhouse and its many other forms have existed, in the past with hammer horror, and in the modern day with something like French Extremity. You don't have to do much to be at least enjoyable for a watch, but this film fails. It hypes itself up as a gore fest, but only has one truly impressive gore effect. The characters are all rather unlikable, with the only one I enjoyed being the Emperor, and I suppose Driller had his moments. Nothing really makes this film worth watching in its entirety, though. Save your money and look elsewhere for your gladiator films. If you just want some grindhouse, I would suggest going for VFW instead. And if you're a Papatiner, just switch it out for a Spare. It isn't difficult. Also, don't trust the jack the company gives you. I learned my lesson after a Toyota nearly fell on me.
Welcome to the gridiron. Every day is a sunshine day.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.